So when I lived in Costa Rica, I had to pay an annual inspection fee for my vehicles. And if you're thinking about living in Costa Rica and owning a vehicle or more, you need to know all about this or potentially face some heavy fines. So this video talks about my experience. What was formerly known as the Riteve, which is a vehicle inspection, is now called Dekra. In 2022, the German company called Dekra took charge of the technical inspection of vehicles in the country. That was September of 2022. And today I'm going to share with you how that works, everything that goes along with the inspection, and every single detail so you know what to expect and know how to do it if you are in Costa Rica. Perhaps you're moving to Costa Rica soon and you're looking for this information. Hopefully I can help you out. Now in Costa Rica, all vehicles must undergo an annual inspection. For 20 years, the Spanish company that I said, Riteve, was responsible for all these inspections. However, the administration decided not to renew their concession, and at the time President Chavez said he was very proud that the process did not take place amid secrecy, but it was a very transparent process in finding a new inspection company for vehicles in Costa Rica. Now, Dekra exists in 69 countries and has over 48,000 people employed globally. It was founded in Berlin in 1925 and is recognized as one of the best companies in the TIC sector. TIC standing for Testing, Inspection, and Certification. For those new to Costa Rica or hoping to move here soon, Dekra is the company that is now contracted to carry out all the country's vehicle inspections. You have to deal with them whether you like it or not. This mechanical checkup is what every vehicle must pass in order to be driven legally. They will pull you over. It applies to cars, trucks, buses, motorcycles, and even ATVs if you take them out on public roads. Basically, this inspection tests the safety of your vehicle as well as pollution levels coming from the tailpipe. Now, many of you may have experienced similar tests in your home country. Mechanics everywhere do different kinds of tests. Emissions are pretty big in the United States, actually. But in Costa Rica, there are more than a dozen dedicated Dekra inspection facilities that are based all over the country. When is your inspection due? The date of your Dekra inspection corresponds with the last number on your license plate. So for example, if your license plate ends in a 9, your Dekra is due in September. Plates ending in 1 are due in January, 2 in February, 3 in March, and so on and so forth. Not going to go into that too much. The license plates that end with a 0 are due in October. Newer vehicles, which is classified as a vehicle that is less than 5 years old, need this inspection done every 2 years. Any vehicle older than that needs to be inspected annually. Public transportation vehicles like buses are required to get inspected actually twice every year. That's all for safety. I don't disagree with that. The car you own should already have a Dekra or a Riteve if it's older on the windshield. You get a little sticker on the windshield and that's what tells cops and everyone that you have it done. And it's got a date on it. That's the date your next vehicle inspection is due. For example, if a sticker that says JUN 24, it means you need to get your car inspected before the end of June in 2024. Making an appointment is very easy, but you really can't just show up for a Dekra inspection. You need to have an appointment. And appointments can be called on the phone by calling 4000-1100. But totally skip that. Forget I said that. It's Costa Rica. They never answer the phones. People complain about this all the time on forums. I've heard people talk about it. Do not. Instead, I recommend that you make an appointment through the company's website. Now, my friend still lives there and has shared with me a lot of experiences, which I'm going to kick in this video here and share with you as well. And he said that through this experience, it was very easy when you established the appointment online. So I recommend that you go that route, especially if you're an American that gets frustrated like I do. From the homepage of the Dekra website, click on Estaciones de Inspección, that's inspection stations, and choose the nearest facility to your home. Next, click Cita, which is C-I-T-A, por internet. That's an internet appointment for those of you that don't speak Spanish. A screen will open where you can select the type of vehicle you want inspected. Now that can be an automobile, a motorcycle, ATV, etc. Continue to go through the menu and choose a date on the calendar. Every available date will be in green, and then choose a specific time. Appointments generally start very early in the morning and they will be available all the way through the evening. Finally, you enter your personal details such as your name, your license plate number, and your contact information. An appointment confirmation will be sent to your email. Now, as a personal tip of someone being in Costa Rica, be prepared to wait. You wait for pretty much everything in Costa Rica. There's no rush for anything. My friend said that he showed up 10 minutes early for his appointment and still waited 45 minutes in the line. So don't get there super early. Let's talk about the cost of your Dekra. The cost for a Dekra inspection is about $15. It's going to be in colones, of course, which is just over $7,000. You will pay this when you arrive at the facility. They take credit cards, mobile app called SinPay, and cash. So pretty much any options available. If you have to fix something on your car and come back, The second appointment's about $4, just under 2,000 colones. Hopefully you don't have to do this. Motorcycles and ATVs have different costs, which are about $10 in the initial inspection. It's gonna be about $3 on the ATVs. Motorcycles are 10. If you need to fix something and come back, that's on you. It just has to be done. You have to have your Dekra to drive around the country. Now let's talk about how strict Dekra is. Having seen some very questionable automobiles in my 20 plus years traveling around Costa Rica, and when, just to put it in frame, picture an old 70s pickup truck with just smoke billowing out of the back and its bumper on the ground, dragging around with tools in the back, just looking like crap. You gotta assume that some of these questionable practices might have been happening when it came to inspection. So a lot of people rent brake pads, they do things to patch up their car just to pass it. It's absolutely wild. Look, it's third world, it's what it is. Having gone through this process, I gotta say that it is a very thorough process. Everything is much more high tech now that it's with Dekra, and it's very sophisticated. So my friend shared his stuff and his notes on this, and it's absolutely crazy. As far as bribes, knowing someone who works there, look, I lived in Costa Rica and paid $100 to skip the line to get my driver's license back in 2008. It's probably unlikely. Dekra is a German company, so I wouldn't even try that. Every test is recorded by computers. When my friend said he went, he said his staff that he brought with his helper knew everybody there, and he still failed. So don't think you're gonna grease the palms and get through it like everything else in Costa Rica. This, of course, does not stop the owners of questionable cars from making temporary adjustments like I just mentioned right before their appointment to ensure that their car passes. This happens all the time. It happens. It's Costa Rica. People will find loopholes. There's not a lot of money there in certain areas. As an example, you can buy new tires, and sometimes you can have them rented for the day just to pass the inspection. It happens. Look, people do that in the United States and everywhere in the world. Shortcuts, right? I highly recommend at least taking your car to the mechanic before you do this beforehand. This is very important. Your mechanic might find something even minor that will save you from a failure mark and save the hassle of going all the way back and having another cost and wasting half a day or a day to do your inspection. During the inspection, they're going to look for some things that you might not even realize they're looking for. Costa Rica has many dirt roads, and the mechanics often advise to have your engine power washed before you go in there because the inspectors are not going to like how dirty it is. Now, what's involved in this Dekra inspection? Being a German firm, the Dekra inspection is done with totally advanced technology, stuff that Riteve didn't even have. Back in the US, a mechanic would look around your car for signs of a problem, and this could be bad tires, bad brakes, burned out light bulbs, fluid leaks, stuff of that nature. And then they use a computer to test your car's engine and exhaust emissions. But with the German company Dekra running this in Costa Rica, the car literally goes through an assembly line, something I've only seen at Range Rover here in Miami. And it goes through 7 different stations, each testing something that's different, and each with its own high-tech computer and monitor reporting the results right there and giving feedback that will all go into your test. Here's the types of tests that you could expect to happen. The first one's a basic exterior check. They look at the turn signals, the high beams, the low beams, the windshield wipers, and the horn. They're gonna test the angle of the headlights with a device that rolls in front of the car and inspect the tread on the tires. Very important that you've got good tires when you go into this appointment. At this point, a small sensor is also placed in the tailpipe, and that measures the car's emissions. Then they're gonna go to a basic interior check. In this next station, the technician checks inside the car, looks around with a flashlight, and makes sure that every seatbelt works properly. So check your seatbelts again before you go. They're also gonna look at your VIN number, and when they find that, they're gonna make sure that it matches your registration. Obviously, that's an easy one. They'll next test your shocks and struts. This is where you see that German engineering right there. After that, the technician has you drive onto a set of 4 pads. Something goes on and all of a sudden it's like an earthquake. This is a quote from my friend who lives there. I mean, I don't even know what this means, but that's what he said. There's monitors and graphs and all sorts of tech. And then you go to a brake test. This station has a set of rollers under the wheels, and this allows the wheels to turn while the car stays in one place. Now, at the request of the technician, you're going to apply the brakes. This is a brake test. While the computer checks out your vehicle's ability to stop it and basically just function as a braking car, which is smart. Then you go to a side-by-side test. This is similar to the shock test where 4 pads go under the wheels and they're moved around side by side. After that, you go to an underbody inspection, and basically someone's gonna look under there with a flashlight. I don't know if it's cosmetic or they're looking for something broken, but it is part of the process according to my friend who just went through this. Finally, you go through an emissions test, and that's the last test in line. Newer cars, I'm told, are often able to skip this if they're good up until that point. Now, getting a new Dekra sticker after your last test in the building, you simply wait for your results to come back. And it's Costa Rica. It's not going to be fast. You're gonna sit there and chill for a while until they tell you you passed. Now, what if you do not pass? If you fail, you'll get a piece of paper with a description of exactly what went wrong and what caused the failure. You can then take that to a nearby mechanic and get everything adjusted or repaired. All Dekra stations have plenty of private mechanic shops set up nearby, helping people with these headaches. Hey, they're Germans, they're smart, they've got little machines, they've got people they refer people to. It's better than the past, right? If it's a quick fix, like say like a light bulb or a brake cleaning, you can usually come right back. We actually saw one car, according to my friend, that was allowed to cut the line because he only needed a few minutes to get re-inspected, and then he drove back out and everything was kosher. Now, if it's something major, you might have to schedule a total re-inspection for another appointment on a later date. Overall, the experience of going through Dekra is tedious and stressful, but with this German company doing it now, it's quite fascinating and eye-opening. The level of tech used in this facility is impressive. The technicians use computers and tablets throughout the process, and you can actually see firsthand how you really can't get away with too much. This is a good thing for Costa Rica. Keeping the road safe, keeping vehicles up to speed on emissions, etc. is good. Overall, I feel like Costa Rica's vehicle inspection does a very good job at ensuring the safety of all the cars on the road. Yes, like I said, it's tedious, but there's many things in Costa Rica that are tedious. There's a lot of trade-offs for living there, and I'm just covering the facts because I lived there for 20 plus years. I'm just here doing my best to share my best with you. I will be moving back at some point. We do have property there we visit quite often. I'm Tim with All World Travel. Please subscribe, and I will share more travel tips, mostly about Costa Rica, Fort Lauderdale, but all over the world. We cover wherever we travel in the next video. Thanks again.